Hello. Um, a few minutes ago, I'm just gonna get straight into this. A few minutes ago, I was watching YouTube. That's the only TV I watch. And I came across a video by a creator named D'Angelo, um, talking about Michael Jackson and the upcoming biopic. And he starts off by making an disclaimer or upcoming warning. Parents, family members, people who know me or knew me when I was a kid and watched me grow up, I strongly advise you to click away from this video. Click away, please, please, because I might be saying some things that you probably won't like coming out of my mouth. Click away now. Please click away now. Okay? Okay. He started off by making some points about how he hated everything about the biopic coming out, and he started going into some points. I don't have any bullet points or anything, so I'm just going to be ranting about some things. He started going up on about how he didn't like everyone's kind of like this perfect support of 100% support of MJ fans and them supporting Michael, and he was this good, amazing man, celebrating him. And he was saying, and I can give him a little bit of respect for saying, I have done my research. I'm not one of those fans that, or ex fans, or people that used to believe his innocence. I'm not one of those people that believed one thing and then heard the other and then just automatically believed it. He said, I've watched supposedly a few documentaries. So he's come to his own conclusion, this man, and I respect him for that. Um, he then goes on to talk about his controversies. And he mentioned something about the fandom that also kind of pisses me off as well. Um, and I am a huge Michael Jackson fan. So keep that in mind. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, obsessed with him, by the way. And I've always been a supporter of his innocence. And I used to be one of those fans that said, oh, everything that he did was completely normal and he was innocent just because, and they're lying. But as I got older, just like many other fans, have done research or and have also too watched documentaries, and the reason why we still stand 10 toes on his innocence is because shit doesn't add up. And he brings up some things about Michael's behavior. Um, we like to normalize Michael, right? We like to make him human. Um, and again, mind you, I'm a complete supporter of his innocence to this very day. And what does bother me, which he did mention, what does too bother me is fans com- and people in general that normalize his behavior. And I want to say it wasn't normal. It wasn't. And as fans, we need to stop excusing that. We got to stop excusing that. And let me make this point. I'm going to make a full loop around. It wasn't normal. And D'Angelo brought up some things in the video about the shit that Michael had locked up in a safe. And mind you, this is all the stuff that they already brought up in trial. This is everything that, if you're a big fan of Michael and you're reading up on his innocence, you're gonna know pretty much most of the things that were brought up in the trial to bring him down over the years. He brought up the stuff and the weird quotes and the nude pictures of boys in books. And he says, if you're, he goes on to talk about, he says blatantly, Michael, in the interviews, yeah, I've slept in the bed with many of children. And he has said that. And I will talk about that in a second. Every time a person talks about his guilt and they bring up those exact same things, it's not something that I haven't heard before. All that screams to me is that obvious, probably what a lot of people know, he was just obsessed and with childhood and youth and children. And I think that was displayed in his behavior, and him blatantly saying things like that in interviews. Like Martin Bashir asked him, did you sleep in the bed with those children? No, I slept on the floor. He says one of those answers, and then another answer he goes, I slept in the bed with many of them. So to me, though it doesn't look good, to me that just shows Michael genuinely believes that he's not doing anything wrong, which further proves his innocence to me. And I think Michael, his behavior just screamed, not only was he robbed of his childhood, but when the upbringing of your childhood, it fucking matters. It really fucking matters. And people like to brush over that. That's why people bring it up. That's why he brings it up. The upbringing of your fucking childhood matters. There was some there was some disturbing shit that happened to me as a child. And because of that, there's a part of my fucking mind that I'm fucked up from. I'm fucked up from it to this day. Though I'm still normal, I'm okay, right? Thank goodness. Because of that, because of my own traumas, I will there will always be a part of my mind that will forever be fucked up because of it. Michael's upbringing wasn't normal. He's not normal because of that. And this is not saying that, oh, Michael had a fucked up upbringing. He doesn't know what he's doing. No, 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 no. Fans shouldn't do that. And I'm not going to do that either. He knew what he was doing. He knew it looked weird because he knew people were judging him. He knew people hated him for it. He knew that. But I think it came from desperation, that taste, that desire for childhood back. He also voiced how he heavily disliked aging, growing old and dying, withering away to dust. He hated that idea. And it showed. Right? Not to talk about his surgeries or anything. I think this man was so fucking attractive. The little things, the Botox and what you can see. Peter Pan, never growing old, staying young forever, youth, children. he was just so obsessed to the point where it made him look fucking weird to a certain degree. And to those people that like to talk about Michael and um hanging with all those children, or like boys as they like to say, look at the fucking parents. If that's the case, were you guys pimping your children off? That's what it looks like, right? Me? Me personally, a celebrity, I'm just not letting you, and a grown man at that, I'm not letting you sleep at his fucking house without me there. I want to be there to enjoy it too. So, like, what the fuck? This is Michael Jackson. What are we doing? I'm just sending you away. Okay, I'm going on a trip, sure. But all this free time that he's spending with them, as they say, like he doesn't have a ton of other shit to do. It's baffling to me. And imagine you're 5, get into a singing group, perform at strip clubs. Your brother's having sex with people in the same room, as Michael has mentioned. This is not me making shit up. This is not me exaggerating here. This is something that came out of Michael's mouth to Bashir as he was opening up to him. And I'm not villainizing the brothers in any way, you know. I'm not. This is not a video talk here to talk about their flaws or anything like that. But this is something that he has mentioned. Performing at strip clubs, the beatings, get it perfect, get it right. Don't call me dad. I'm Joseph to you. What the fuck? Like this, do you expect him to be fine? 100% fine in the brain as an adult? Child, that can fuck you up. Look at a bunch of these child actresses. And this is not all of them. Some of them still grow up to be fine and perfectly normal. And even if you're kind of fucked up, you're still normal, right? You're still normal, but you still have to the most part, for the most part. But if you have a fucked up childhood, you're gonna have some weird, horrible coping mechanisms. We've seen it with child actresses. It probably showed up with hard drugs, being abusive to their partner, going to jail, to prison, to jail. We see it all the time. Sure, they may not have an amusement park like Michael did, but what did they do? They did some childish shit. Some very childish shit that got them in prison, that got them addicted to drugs. They did some some childish behaviors that you would look at and go, you're an adult. That's childish of you. Michael did it in his own way. He did it in a way that didn't hurt others. And so, no, I'm not excusing Michael's behavior. And I think that Michael definitely should have had some boundaries. And we just have to accept that. Michael was not 100% normal. He had, part of that was fucked up based off of his actions, right? Anyone who has a fucked up upbringing is gonna have some fucked up psychology in there. It's gonna happen. Like it happened to me. Like something's gonna be a little fucked up in there. And Michael should have had boundaries. And in this situation, for his sake, because I was waiting for D'Angelo to bring up those points. He brought up everything else, but I was waiting for him to bring up those points of the trial. How the so-called accusers, their fucking stories didn't match. It didn't add up. Something wasn't right. Something wasn't right. Dates didn't match. Things that were supposedly happening to this child on this specific date. They pulled up that it showed that the parents were out on a shopping spree. It showed that the child wasn't even there on the said date that they said. How is it that you can remember everything else, right? You can't remember anything else but the good shit that happened to you. But for some reason, you can't get that straight. We're not asking you to remember the year, though it does matter in a court case, but on a date, on an average conversation, no one's expecting you to remember the year, if it was sunny outside, what time was it on the clock, and no one's asking you to remember that. Their stories kept changing dramatically. Their stories kept changing. Dates weren't adding up. It was different fucking dates. And then you got audio recordings on top of that of one of the fathers saying that they were going to ruin Michael's career and Michael's going to be humiliated. All of that adding onto one. That's why people say that Michael was set up. And it didn't help that Michael partially put himself in those situations, in my opinion. It's not like someone was like, oh, Michael, I'm a photographer. Let's take this child. Let's go into your bedroom. Michael, you sit on this side of the bed. You, child, you sit right next to him. And we're going to take a photo. And we're going to set you up. That's not how it happened. Michael willingly, hey, I'm going to have sleepovers. Hey, come on, invite your children. Parents, you can come too. Anyway, let's have fun. Let's go on the music park. Let's watch TV in my bed and my bedroom. This man didn't have any boundaries. And you know where I think that a lot of that comes from, like I mentioned, desperation and just the taste, that desperation for childhood back, what it was like. Simple shit that we took for granted every day. And going to your friend's house, spending the night, people that you weren't related to, spending the night, going over talking hours on the phone, and boys hanging out with other boys and kidding around with them. Little things like that we took for granted or probably never even fucking thought about, right? Things that we look back on and laugh at out of nostalgia and comfort to this day. Michael didn't get to have that. And so did a lot of other childhood actresses. Didn't get to have that. They look back on some funny memories, but most of it was work, uh, grown women coming on to me, trying to groom me, uh, performing in strip clubs. Okay. Oh shit, a slap to the face. Goddamn. Damn. Get it right, get it perfect. Oh shit. Or a belt to the ass, or whatever the fuck. A switch from the tree. I'm recording in the studio. Fuck, I want to play outside. Focus on your recording. Okay, fuck. Okay, I'm doing TV specials. I'm doing commercials. I'm doing concerts. When the fuck am I going to be a fucking kid without the pressures of an adult? On top of that, I'm being told that I'm ugly. I'm being teased for having a big nose. What? We expect him to grow up and be 100% fine. We expect him to grow up and expect him to not have any desperation for what was fucking tarnished. And this is not saying he didn't have any good moments. This is not saying that his family was horrible to him. I love the Jackson family. I would love to meet the Jackson family. They're just so fucking, they're amazing. And it's nice to see a successful black family that is still fucking killing it. And I'm obsessed with their fucking sibling, as a lot of people are. That Michael had a big effect on people. And as much as that man has been torn apart by the law for a long time, they couldn't really find anything that said that he violated those children. There wasn't anything that came up that said he actually violated them. Wade Robson was a star witness. If I was Michael Jackson and I knew I did some fucked up shit to you, I wouldn't want you to be a child witness. A star witness. I wouldn't want you to be a star witness. You'd be the last person I'd call to the stand. You're not important. Okay? I violated you. Okay? You're not important to me. Get him the fuck out of here. He was a star witness. And D'Angelo also brought up a picture with fucking Epstein or something like that. Like, there shouldn't be any pictures with him at all. How were we supposed to know that this nigga had friends tucked away and shit like that? How the fuck is everybody supposed to know that? How the fuck is everybody supposed to know that? This was before all the shit came out about Epstein. We're not talking about rumors. We're not talking about talk around the park. This is before this generation. This was beforehand. So what the fuck? You're he's catching a fade for a fucking picture about something before something came out. And this, it made me so passionate because every time someone wants to prove Michael's guilt, it's always the same shit and it never convinces me. All I feel is hurt that people, fans that probably became fans 2 months ago, which it doesn't matter, but depending on the shit that you say, you can tell what kind of fan you are. It's like, we gotta stop excusing that. Michael, his behavior wasn't okay. If it was normal, if you're watching this as a grown man, are you doing that? I hope you're not. Sleeping in the bed with other people's kids because you want to help them. I hope you're not doing that. Why? Because you know it looks weird. Why? A lot of people would be doing it if that was also normal and that was also okay. It wasn't okay. Let's stop excusing that. It's not okay. Michael should have had boundaries. Had Michael would have had boundaries, a lot of that would have even fucking happened. But it was because Michael wanted his childhood so badly. He wanted oh so badly that taste of what it would be like. He wanted it bad. He didn't give a fuck about boundaries. And he also brought up hush money and said, and he acknowledged the fact that that doesn't always prove somebody's guilt when they pay somebody off. But then he continues to talk about the bullshit. And I'm like, I get it, I respect it, and I understand your points, right? And you can think whatever the fuck you want to think. If that's how you feel about Michael, that's how the fuck you feel. We should stop attacking people. I mean, cut them off. You can talk your shit, but you don't gotta lose your fucking brain for that. That's what they think, and you can't blame them for feeling a little off about it. But if you do even more research, you'll find that Michael said that him him not going not fighting that case the first time it happened to him, and he was advised to pay it off because Michael was in the middle of a bunch of performance shit and that could go on forever. And Michael was like, what the fuck should I do? What should I do? I want to fight this. Don't fight it. Pay it off. He said he was advised to do that. He hesitantly did it and continued to do it. And you can find something of Michael saying that was one of his biggest regrets, is not fighting that fucking case. He should have fought it. And even though I'm kind of, in a weird way, I'm kind of glad that it panned out the way it did anyway. You know, the trial happening later, even though it nearly fucking killed him earlier, he was found innocent on all counts, on everything. Oh, Michael hired, and before you go there, oh, Michael's rich and powerful. He must have paid somebody to clean all that shit up for him. As much as they have tarnished his belongings when he wasn't there, right? And if also they cleaned everything up, why were they able to find the weird shit that was locked up in a safe? If everything was so cleaned up and he hired people, why were they able to still find some weird looking shit? They were still able to find some shit, but they couldn't find anything that could directly point to the action of him violating them. And you also have the buildup of, right, like I mentioned before, the fucking bullshit ass details of shit not adding up. Because all of that exists, that's why I'm a firm believer of he's innocent. That doesn't make that doesn't make his behavior okay necessarily. Fans should change that. They should stop doing that. And we should start acknowledging, humanizing him like we want to do, right? Humanize Michael. He was a complex, odd human being. And he was misunderstood. He was one of the most misunderstood people on the planet, in my opinion. He was so misunderstood. And he was horrible at explaining himself, especially when you're in a situation that doesn't look good. I have family members like that. My fucking sister, anytime she's in a bad situation, she is not good at explaining herself. I know people like that. So think about when you're in a situation on that fucking level. Slumber parties with kids. What the fuck do you say? The truth. Because if you're lying, the truth will come out eventually. Michael sat there and looked dead in the interviewer shit and said, yes, I do that. That interview when he was sitting next to Lisa Marie, I think it was 1995 or something like that. The interviewer asked him, are you going to do it again? Is this going to continue? He said, do what again? Are you going to continue doing these sleepovers, Michael? Are you going to continue this, whatever the fuck you're doing? He said, yes, I am. As long as it's out of purity and love, I'm going to continue to do it. In his mind, he's like, what the fuck? Because what the fuck am I doing? Why should I stop giving these kids what was stripped from me? Why should I stop doing that? There's nothing wrong with that. In his mind, me doing this is not only helping this child, but I'm also probably giving them what was stolen from me. This child is probably having their childhood stolen from them. I'm gonna be a humanitarian. What? You want this gift? Here. You want some gifts? Let me give you this. Michael, I want to sleep with you tonight. You want to sleep with me tonight? Sleep with me tonight. It don't look good, Michael. You gotta have some boundaries. What the fuck are you doing? But in his mind, I got all this money. I'm powerful. I'm on top of the world. I can live up my childhood the way an average person can't. Why the fuck not? Why not? I'm gonna be the most generous person ever. Sleep where you goddamn please. But no, no, no. No, Michael, you can't do that. Why? Because not everybody sees things the way you see it. Someone who doesn't know you, Michael, is not going to look at that and be like, this is beautiful, this is innocent. Someone is going to take advantage of your psychological thinking. Someone's going to take advantage of that and look at that and make that an easy setup, which is what happened. It's an easy setup. They looked at Michael. They already have a hard time fucking over other celebrities and setting them up, right? And also, you got real monsters out there, but they already try to set up other people, right? So they're looking at this man, Michael, and I bet you they were looking at this man like, wow. I'm talking about the sharks. They were looking at him like, we got ourselves a jackpot. This is an easy win. And I hope this man does something to piss me off. Why? Because I'm going to humiliate him. One of those audios said that. I'm going to humiliate him. And if you want to know about that story, look into that because that also had something to do with the accuser's father being jealous of the relationship with Michael and shit. And mind you, the father that came up with that wasn't in the picture. He wasn't in the family picture. The family was having issues and he wasn't in the picture. So you got that. You got if like he's in a situation to where if you piss somebody off, they could easily go, Michael touched my child. It didn't help that Michael put himself in that situation and he knew that it looked fucked up to people. He knew there was people that hated him for it, that didn't like him for it. He knew better, but he's thinking, I need my childhood. I need some sort of coping mechanism. I need some sort of escapism from the fucking life, the chaotic life that I have going on right now. I need some escapism and I need to do my coping mechanism. And he was so consumed by it. You can see it in the way he lived his life. You can see it in his personality. Okay, I don't like it when people, like I said, I don't. Let's not excuse his behavior, and I hate when people baby him. Michael was a grown ass man. Stop babying him. He was adorable. Yes, he was adorable. He was so fucking cute, but he was a grown ass man. Okay, grown ass man. But there was a part in his mind. He was addicted to it. It made him feel good. He had addictive habits. You can see it in his fucking drug addictions. He had addictive behavior. So something that made him feel good, something that made him feel less pain, which doing and living out the aspects of childhood was part of that painkiller. He was addicted to that and he was forever addicted to it to the day he died. That was a flaw that got him in a lot of trouble. And that's why I don't necessarily blame people for I don't necessarily blame people for thinking Michael was weird, even though you don't want to go into that thinking with the approach of ignorance. But this is why I don't necessarily full on shame people for it, because what if Michael was a fucking pedophile? What if he was like that? Imagine. You can't blame a parent for looking at that on the outside in and going, oh my God, Michael, what the fuck? What are you doing? That's why I don't do that. So yeah, I had to go on a long rant about that. I felt very passionate about that. And this is not to trash D'Angelo's video. This is not to trash him or trash his beliefs and thoughts and approach. This is just, it angers me because of the fandom and how they do a biased take on, or a blind take on, his innocence. But this is also just a support to Michael's innocence. Michael was a very complex human being, and he had a lot of flaws, but that he was human. And he was a good person. I think he was a good person. I think he was a good person based off of his actions. You don't have any stories of coming out of him laying fingers on anybody. He didn't hit his wives. He didn't hit his girlfriends. He hurt himself. You always hear stories of Michael inflicting some sort of pain or unhealthy habit on himself, but never to anybody else. So that just shows what kind of person he was without even knowing him. Like, I see why his family is so fucking protective over him. And they don't let a lot of people into the circle, because Michael has let a lot of people in his circle, and they always did that bullshit. The families that he associated himself with, the families that Michael associated himself with, which are the same families that got him in court, Michael has been warned before about some of those families. Like, stay away from those families. They have a habit of, suing people for money and shit, and doing just on that weird shit. Watch them. Michael, like the person he is, oh, he has cancer though. Let's help Michael. Who the fuck? I know, but you gotta, yeah, I mean, let it go. Sorry. No, you can't save everybody, Michael. You just can't save everyone. And he learned that the hard way. You just can't save everybody. You can't save everyone. You just can't save everybody. And frankly, a lot of us know those people that are just unbelievably fucking nice. They're just so nice. There's people, you hear stories of people taking random strangers into their home out of the kindness of their heart, and then they end up getting murdered that night or the next morning. The stranger ended up fucking killing them because that person that they killed, the person that they murdered, was that nice. They didn't even know that person. Out of the kindness of their heart, because they were so fucking empathetic and sympathetic, all in one. God damn it. Both. They feel for people so fucking much, and they want to save people. It ends up biting them in the ass. And that's what happened to Michael. Michael, you can't save everyone. And I'm one of those people that got bit in the ass for it too. Not as severe, but I'm one of those people that end up turning into a therapist for people on an average average day-to-day basis, and I love it. But I've been taken advantage of that because of that. So yeah, I really wanted to respond to that. That was a rant. I didn't have any bullet points or anything like that. Again, to all the people, if family members stayed and watched it to the very end, appalled by my language, I'm so sorry. I had to let that out. I felt very passionate. Um, if any kids are watching this, I'm very sorry. I hope your parents don't see you watch or hear you watching it. You know, I'm sorry. But that's why people stand by his innocence. We should change the way we defend Michael, right? We should change the way we defend Michael. Um, we should acknowledge Michael's behavior whilst also acknowledging why that makes Michael innocent. Yeah. So, yeah, that's just how I feel.